question that is most frequently asked is, okay, we have gone through inSIG, what next? What can we do now with the knowledge that we have gained? How can we participate in these processes? So this session is to basically clarify any questions that you might have about this topic, which is
Hey, I'm not on the panel.
that's okay.
I stay here?
So we have actually one panelist whose mother died yesterday, Brajesh Jain, who's my colleague in ICANN, so who could not make it. So I have requested Glenn to step in that vacancy. So please bear with us on the stage. As I was saying, this session is to basically for the panelists to quickly respond to the question of how do new people who are new to the system, people who are generally young, get linked into the global processes. There are many barriers that we can see, the most obvious ones being language, culture, time zones, the sheer number of acronyms that float around, the need to have a lot of information beforehand before you can start speaking in these forums, etc. But none of this is really insurmountable. And I can quickly share my example. 2012, I had actually been a fellow in the European Summer School on Internet Governance in Meissen, Germany. I didn't know much about ICANN itself, but I was a member of IZOC at the time, from 2009. And there I met a lot of people, and one of them asked me, why do you not go to ICANN? ICANN is the kind of most obvious place for Internet governance. And then I decided to join ICANN, so I was representing the Computer Society of India as the president of CSI at that time. So I applied and got in 2012. And I knew hardly anybody except this person who was in Meissen with me. She, of course, was a very talented person who became later on the board member of ICANN. Her name is Rinalia Abdul Rahim. Rinalia is originally from Malaysia, but she lives in Europe now. So Rinalia said you should join the at-large and all that. And I entered at-large in 2013 or so as a rank outsider. 2013 I attended an AGM, the annual general body or general assembly of APSIG. And then I found myself being inducted to one working group and then to the NOMCOM. Without being, I was kind of, age-wise I was senior, but in the organization I was really brand new. I ended up in the NOMCOM. And NOMCOM is a very crucial organization. And thereafter, it was just a matter of continuing and spending time. And currently I chair the Asia Pacific organization of at-large. So, at least in my case, from first hand, I can quote that it is not as insurmountable as you might think. And it is worth a shot if you have the time and inclination for this domain. So I will not, talk about these generalities now. Instead, I will start with a very brief presentation, 8 or 9 slides on APSIG, and then I'll ask quickly the panelists to respond to these questions. Each panelist taking about 3 to 4 minutes. In particular, Srini is going to ask questions as a IZOC chair from the trenches. What are the issues that happen when you participate? And Millie is going to talk about the young people's role in at-large and in internet domain. So let me quickly get into the APSIG, which is the Asian, Australasian and Pacific Islands Regional at-large Organization, APSIG. It's part of ICANN, and you can see the logo there. It says Celebrating Diversity. As you see, the Asia-Pacific region of at-large is the most diverse. It is the largest in a sense, with 10 time zones. And we have adopted the motto of Celebrating Diversity. Now this is the whole of ICANN at large, and this is the region that we're talking about, which is the Asia Pacific. This is some of the people that we have in Asia Pacific. You can see the diversity. There are all kinds of colors and dresses and things like that. Again, and this person here is Rinalia Abdul Rahim, who was chair of APSIG, This person here is from Armenia. Her name is Siranush. She was the chair before me. And Armenia, as you know, is a very small country, landlocked. These two people here are Alan Greenberg, the outgoing chair of At-Large Advisory Committee, who's just finishing his term next week. And the lady there is Maureen Hilliard, who's the incoming chair. And she's from a very tiny island called Cook Islands in the middle of the Pacific. It's right out of nowhere, but she's now taking charge as the chair of the ALAC, the advisory committee on At-Large. And all the rest, of course, you can see these are people that are part of our group. Quickly, the objectives: it's a platform for participation in ICANNs at large, influencing policy, ensuring that your voices from the trenches, from the grassroots, are heard in the policy process. You can take a look at the presentation. I'm not going to go in detail about these, but this is important. That it plays a role of it plays an interface between individual and the individual internet users. Even those who are not yet users, who would be users, are actually covered in At-Large. Yesterday, Shahul had mentioned something about NCUC. NCUC is another part of ICANN, where again civil society can participate. The primary difference is that NCUC is a part of GNSO, which is a part of the policy originating organizations, and At-Large is a part of ALAC, which is a policy commenting part of ICANN. So ICANN has two parts: one which originates policy. All of them are supporting organizations. They end with SO. So they originate policy. The ACs, the advisory committees, they respond to the policies originated by these SOs. They do not themselves generate policy. The largest and most diverse, 54 at-large structures. ALSs are organizations, but we also have individual members. So any of you who would like to join as an individual member of APRELU are most welcome. You can just sign up. There are no formalities. You have to just give an affidavit saying that I am not part of any existing ALS, existing organization. General Assembly, we sent 2 nominees to the At-Large Advisory Committee and 1 to the NOMCOM. So this is a statutory role that we play. Of course, our main role is to respond to policies that happen within ICANN. And we also have a representative in the seat 15 of the ICANN board. So I mentioned Ronalia. She was occupying seat 15 until last year. And now we have Leon Sanchez of Mexico, again from At-Large, occupying that seat 15. Seat 15 is for the At-Large. And remember, At-Large represents the end users within ICANN. And what are the difference between NCUC? Shahul, being a member of NCUC requires you to have registered at least one domain, is that right?
Yeah.
So that is one constraint. But in At-Large, that does not exist. But then NCUC is much more focused, because then you are a domain owner, you know what are the problems, issues, and you are going to participate from that perspective. Whereas an end user has no domains that he or she has registered, but they would like their voices to be heard nevertheless in the policy process. The priority areas, inducting more organizations, otherwise called at-large structures, as members, but also individual members. Now, individual members have become very important. We have found that many of our old ALSs are not functional. They have become kind of defunct or dysfunctional. And we had a review, and the suggestion was that we, instead of bringing in organizations who may have other priorities, bring in individuals so that they can directly participate. Contributing to ICANN policy process, providing capacity building, enhancing community engagement within APRELU. We have a newsletter that Amrita is currently part of the editorial team. She's actually producing a newsletter, and that is very popular. We also have social media and stuff. Contributing regional community initiatives. So ICANN, where Dilpreet is coming from, the Singapore office, is directly our link. But we also have several other partners, including APNIC, IZOC, etc. And these are the organizations that we work with. We also have a leadership development program and a mentoring program where people can participate, and kind of those that are interested, they participate. This is our website. As you can see, the five relos are there, and coincidentally, Glenn here was the past chair of Naralo here, and Olivier is the present chair of Urelo. So we have 3 of the leadership people of ICANN at large already here in inSIG. This is from the website, and that is it about APRELO. And the main message that I wanted to pass on here is that APRELO and ICANN at large are open to anyone, irrespective of what your background is. You can be an organization or an individual, and you can participate in either hats, and you're most welcome to talk about this. The next questions that come up is now participating in this international process is very expensive, because if you want to travel and all that, it is not possible for most of us. So we have Samiran here who will be talking to us about how we can physically even participate in some of these things. What are the kind of options available to all of us? So over to Samiran.
Okay. Thank you.
You want to start? So about 3 to 4 minutes.
Can you also cover something else?
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. So, thanks, Satish, for giving this overview. And while you were giving the overview, I realized that in this room there are community members from India who are part of various other structures. Some of them may or may not have been fellows, but yet they are participating. So let me first pick up from where you left off. So as Satish rightly said, that there are opportunities to participate in ICANN. It is, there are fellowships and next-gen programs which are there, and each program has certain specific structures. So in fact, Billy is on the stage, so I will leave something for her to talk about, because she will tell you a little bit more about her fellowship journey. But we also have fellows in the room. I see Jay over here. Not a morning person, I can tell. But jokes apart, the fellowship process is a fairly stringent process. The way it broadly works is that if a meeting is happening in the Asia-Pacific region, then there is more weightage given to the particular country and the region from which, in which the meeting is happening. And then, of course, the rest of the fellows are from other regions. And that's how we try to balance it out. The fellowship is open for, of course, all of this is available online, but I'm just getting straight to the point. It is open to people 21 years and older. There is no upper limit in terms of age, whereas the next gen is designed for students. Okay, so you need to be enrolled in a program, and I think there's an age cap of what, 30? Or 30. Yeah. So I think one of the issues, and how many minutes do I have?
3 minutes more.
Okay. Satish is kind. Okay. So one of the things we look for when we get applications, although I'm not on the committee that looks at, that decides, but I do get to see applications. Okay. I'm not on the committee that decides who gets to come as a fellow or as a next gen, but I do get to see the application. So one of the things we look for is to see what is it that you've done locally. Are you part of a community locally that is working on internet governance issues? What has been your contribution? Because as I was saying, it's oh, there's another fellow over there. Okay. As I was saying, that it's so competitive. I could end up, and India is a large country, so I could end up with even saying that, look, there are 8 people, quite frankly, who should get fellowships from India, but it's not going to happen, right? We need to be inclusive. We need to look at all the countries in the region and all the applicants. So focus on letting us know how you're contributing and why this fellowship would be useful for you. Okay. as ICANN staff, my colleague Dilpreet and I and others are also available for informal conversations on helping you understand, some of those questions which are on the fellowship form, what they are all about. Okay, so we are very, very open to having that conversation in supporting you as you go through this journey. And don't get disheartened if you do not get in the first time, because we have cases where people have gotten and have not been able to attend, and we have cases that people have tried 3 times and have not gotten, but on the 4th attempt they did. And we actually keep track of those who didn't make it, but who were keen. Okay? So we know that if somebody's applied for the 2nd or 3rd time, I'm looking at Mohit over here. There was a reason why he couldn't attend, so we made some accommodation. So it's a bit of a give and take, but it's not easy. So therefore, just don't focus only on that. Try to participate in local activities, and there are so many regional forums as well. Thank you so much for 7 minutes.
Thank you, Samrin. And as was pointed out, sometimes there are various hurdles. Although you get your fellowship, you're not going to attend. And one culprit is the visa. Last time, Amrita, for example, was unable to attend the last meeting because of this. And it's good to note that I can thus, take this into consideration while considering subsequent round. Like many of us, Glenn is a person of many hats, including that one. And he's here as the, not only as the NERALO chair, but also as the member of the Board of Trustees of Internet Society, which, as you can see, this backdrop is all about Internet Society, in very prominent letters. So I request Glenn to talk to us for about 3 to 4 minutes about what does ISOC provide by way of support for participation.
Good morning, all. I was dragged onto the dance floor last night. Not willingly, but Amrita made sure I got up and danced. Yes, I'm wearing many hats. In the one hat I have now, it does look like ISOC, but it's not. It's the Internet Society Foundation, which is a new entity that we've created. And it's going to be an opportunity for many of you that are running organizations in India and elsewhere and we're going to have 5 particular pots of funds that are available, and it's a $34 million fund. So it's a very substantial initiative, and I'm on that board. But on ISOC, and this is the first question I'm going to ask, and I hope I'm not going to get embarrassed by the hands, but put your hands up if you're a member of ISOC. Wow, I'm not embarrassed. I hope you're getting a picture of everybody's hands. This is fantastic. Okay, so the second question is, those that put their hands up, are you a member of a chapter, or, okay, are you a member just as a global member? Those who are not affiliated with a chapter, just a global member. Okay, all right, so you can tie your membership to anywhere. It could be New York, if you want to, but these are the chapters that you may want to consider joining. And I think it's important to get involved with the local chapters. It's important to look at what funding is available for the, ISOC has an ambassador program. Unlike my associate to the right, there is no age limit in the ICANN situation, which I admire. And I've been fighting like crazy with ISOC because there tends to be, with their ambassador program, anyone that's under 40. So if somebody turns 41, and some of you, worked very hard on it, you would not be able to qualify. So I'm working, my own personal vendetta is to change that. So I'm hoping in the tenure I'm on the board that I will be able to achieve that. So we have we have technical sponsored spots to go to the IETF. So did anybody ever go to the IETF as a sponsored ISOC person? No? Yes? Okay, perfect. You know that I think it was last year the first Indian RFC went in. right?
Yeah.
Which was extremely good.
Yeah.
Yes. And I believe that gentleman spoke at the last year, which was really impressive. Okay. You can get involved with ISOC as a member. You can get involved with ISOC with your local chapters. And you can also belong to not just a chapter, but you can belong to a special interest group. Now here's, I don't know if it's one of the questions on the quiz today, but I mentioned a special interest group yesterday. Does anybody remember which group I mentioned?
Blockchain?
Thank you. There's many other special interest groups. One is youth and others. So you may want to consider being involved with it and taking on a position with it as well. One of the recent things, because I'm involved with that SIG, I got approached to be an editor for a journal, an online journal on cryptocurrency and blockchain, and I just reviewed a paper. Very important to write papers, okay? Because nobody knows you unless you get yourself out there, you know. If the government is doing in India a new bill on cybercrime or a bill on privacy or a bill, submit your public comments, okay? Because when they go to review your application and you said, oh yeah, you know, guy who was never a member of ISOC, he never submitted comments, public comments, but I love the internet. I'm confused, right? As an evaluator or somebody that's going in, I want to see someone that's actually doing something. Right? So it could be commercial, it could be technical, it could be non-for-profit or civil society. All of that stuff is okay. You know, I'm not passing judgment. You're making lots of money. That's good for you. You know, or if you're doing it for humanitarian reasons to save the world, that's fine with me too. ISOC is partnered with a lot of organizations, and one of the things they were partnered with is especially IGF. And IGF also has fellowships. So the Geneva, the Mexico City, and Paris ones that I've been to, and I know Satish has been there forever, you know, from the beginning of time at IGFs. But him and I do sessions at IGFs. The last one we did at IGF, we laughed all the way through it, so that's a whole long story, but we had fun with it, but it was also really challenging. But this year we're going to have a booth for the ISOC chapters and the ALSs. So if any of you are going to Paris for the IGF, make sure you stop by the booth.
1 minute.
One more minute? Okay. So I talked about the ambassador program. I talked about getting involved with the chapters. I talked about the new foundation funding window. And the other thing that many of you, I'm pretty sure you took advantage of it, each of your chapters, is something called Beyond the Net. Beyond the Net is a funding window. They've spent about $1.4 million over the years, and it's the idea if you want to do something local. One of the things that Satish and I worked on a couple of years ago is internet in the backpack. So it would be a mobile system, similar to what they've done with reindeers up in the Sami, up in Finland, right? They did it, so community to community, but this would be based on people with backpacks, and it would be a point-to-point system, so you can set up an incredible mesh network providing internet access in a community that's undersupplied. One of the big mandates for ISOC, and I'm wrapping up, is community networking. So if you're interested in point-to-point systems or providing, you know, solutions on the digital divide, whether in rural or urban parts of India, look into the community networking. Join the DC3, which is the IGF Community Networking Group. There's lots of great people out there, and it's amazing. You start your journey, and your journey starts with educating yourself, but most important is finding people who've done stuff. I guarantee you, like Olivier and myself and Satish and many of you here who've been down this road, we're more than happy to share our knowledge and point you in the right direction. Okay?
Thank you very much, Glenn. Glenn mentioned IGF towards the end, and since nobody else is speaking about IGF, I'll just mention this, that IGF is an open platform. It is not restricted to any particular area, unlike ICANN, which has got a very focused remit of names, numbers, and protocol parameters. IGF is very broad. We can discuss anything from human rights to the technology of the internet in IGF. And this year's IGF is in Paris in November. How many here have gone to at least one IGF? Can you raise your hands? Yeah, not an insubstantial number actually. Many of us here, Olivier, Glenn and I, for instance, have been organizing workshops. It's pretty hard to kind of do that because there's a lot of competition. But IGF is another place where you can try to participate. It's an open forum. I now move to Srini, who's going to be talking to us about the other end of things. How does it feel to be at the ISOC chapter level and look up at this whole complex of institutions and organizations?
Thank you, Satish. Good morning, all. Let me put it in a different perspective. Like we have heard about a lot of this internet society, what do you call ICANN and all from the great leaders here. To be part of the internet governance, what I would suggest is to consider to be part of either one, just one of these three. For internet governance works on infrastructure, one. Then the second is code which runs the infrastructure. And third is content which goes through the infrastructure. So position yourself where you put in yourself into. If it is infrastructure, yes, you have venues where a lot of this infrastructure related work is going on. And if you go to the code, yes, IITF, IRF, like all those things are coming up. And the content, we have talked about the governance forums where we talk about the content, how you regulate it and so on. But as a chapter, what we look for our members to work more are on local issues. So that is where you all start up. For example, there were the cases where one of the young members was working on the women's self-help groups. How could they make use of internet to be more efficient? Right? You know about women's self-help groups going up in all over India. Like typically in Kerala, we have a lot of women's self-help groups. They work on certain things. Part of it may be a commercial activity. Part of it will be there for winning the bread on a daily activity. But then their efficiency could be improved. For example, some of them were not even knowing about internet banking. So how do we help those people to understand about internet banking? That's one thing. So from there onwards, you can grow up and then finally you will find yourself ending up with one of the three silos which I mentioned. Even though I cannot take it as a silos, you interact within the silos also. And you will start contributing. This is one place. Then, when we go as part of the Internet Society activities, Internet Society has got a lot of project support. There are what you call as small projects, medium projects and large projects. Some of the funding can go up to $10,000, $20,000, $60,000 or something like that coming up. And these projects are awarded for activities related to actually internet governance, one of the three silos which you're mentioning about. Then, be part of the chapter activities. That is what we suggest. I could see a lot of Internet Society members here. Not just being members, try to be volunteers for these activities. So consider taking up a small project. There could be a small project as what I mentioned right now. And once the project is undertaken, you will see that there is a part of internet governance there, which will lead you to one of the forums which we mentioned right now. Whether it is IGF or, I have seen I was closely working with Satish for quite a long number of years. I have seen the way Satish has moved into contributing more to the global community and still keeping the pace with the local community. So that is some of the models which we can take up further. And I have some of my colleagues here, Shahul Ahmed. I met him as a student member in one of the engineering colleges and through IIIT. Most of us work with IIIT as well. So he was purely on the technical side, and I could see that now he has moved within the 3 years, if I remember correctly, to some of the forums in ICANN very easily. But that was not just a jump from a student member to something done in ICANN. He has been contributing very significantly through projects, through content management, through a lot of activities which were connected to the socio-economic forum, the socio-economic structure of the internet. So socio-economic structure of the internet is something which you do. There are a lot of cases where it is still to be connected. Don't talk about internet, still to be connected. And these are all venues where you people who have started the journey through this ISO forum, so the inSIG forum, to start contributing. There are, how much more time?
1 minute.
Yeah. So I would like again like to put the case of the projects which you could even think about. Again, my daughter was studying in Maharashtra in Tata Institute of Social Sciences. She was working on an what do you call it, a local project into the remote areas of Maharashtra. And she was mentioning they knew that there is something like digital payment and all, and they had the phone with them, which is an ordinary phone, but they never know how to make use of that even for the remotest of the things. So when you just look around, don't just go for the multi-million-dollar projects to start with. You start with the local ones. Just go around your place, your village, your city, whatever it is, and there you can see the projects, the opportunities there, and then you think about working from that side. Work with the local chapter, ISO chapter. We have a lot of opportunities where you can work around it. And as we mentioned, you need not be just part of your local chapter. It could be any chapter of the world. That is the wonderful nature of ISO. With that, I will answer the questions right now.
Thanks very much, Srini. As mentioned by Srini, there are actually many role models among yourself itself, even without looking at the older generation among you. And Shahul has mentioned, Shahul was inSIG, first edition of inSIG, was an alumnus of that one. And it's interesting that he stood for elections for NCUZ as Asia Pacific Regional Representative just last month. He did not win the election, but he won a very creditable number of votes, which is actually an indication of the fact that, okay, not this time, but next time. And that is the kind of path. So there are very many of us here who are actually quite good, although we don't have time to kind of present every case, showcase every case, as it were, but we can talk to each other and network and find out who's done what and how, and that would be of use to all of you, I'm sure. Now we move on to another role model, sitting over there, which is Millie, and Millie will talk to us with specific focus on young people's involvement.
Thank you, Satish. I'm really humbled to be role model. So, young people, how's it going? Hungover? Okay, so let's shake it up a bit. I'm a fast talker, that helps save short time. Going to keep it practical. A lot of more experienced people have shared so many avenues that we can be a part of. I have two things in my kitty, the good things and not so good things. So what do you want me to go first for? The good or not so good? Not so good? No. So let's start with the challenging bits of this. And I'm purely speaking out of my journey, which has been a bit random, and I can take that offline. And firstly, this space is complex. Too many acronyms, too many jargons. It's huge. It's a big mesh network, and everything's connected. Everybody's connected. Most of the people here know each other, know their families. They meet each other 4 times a year or more. So don't go and decipher the whole space. Don't try to decode it right at the beginning, saying, I'm going to sit here, look at this big map, and who's ICANN, who's doing what. Don't do that. Find your spot, jump into it, start off. Pick your journey from there and go. You will figure it out on the way. If you think you're going to take 2 days or 5 or a week and study it all, or get to know who's everything, there are 5,000 people to remember. You can sit with all the business cards, sort them out, but you won't get it. So don't try to simplify it. Find your starting point. It's a maze, find your starting point and then find your way through it. Secondly, the jargon. These are the little barriers that I will speak about. I personally feel very strongly about them. There are some language, jargon barriers. For the people who are not from the technical side, there are technical barriers. For people who are not from the social side, there are social barriers, because they don't get these perspectives. If I'm an engineer, if Saqib is an engineer, he can only think it one way and saying, no offense Saqib if he's around, but he can only think it in the tech way. And he's saying, no, why do I have to make it enabled for somebody who can't use what I've created? So there is a social side to it. So we need to give ourselves some time to observe, to understand these perspectives, how different things work on different sides of the table. Take it slow, don't judge yourself. The jargon is going to prevail as much as there have been a lot of efforts. So honestly, I've seen my journey grow in the last 4 years from being a youth fellow when younger people in the room were far lesser, and a lot of these people can tell you that the conferences looked a little more boring, and now we have more color, we have younger people, younger voices, WhatsApps doing the rounds in these conferences. So it's getting there, it's getting lighter, there are lots of capacity building efforts that are done across from all the organizations, a lot of the people at their individual level. So that's happening. So give it that time, breathe in with it, take in the jargon. And we have our smartphones when we are sitting at any of these places. There is an internet connection. If you don't understand anything, right then and there, Google it. If there is a panelist on the table who you feel like, who is this person? Google the name. You will find everything. It's that simple. The names are on the panel, the designation is there, just look that person up, you'll get context. When you're listening to the person, you'll be like, okay, I know why this person is saying something like that, because he or she comes from this particular background. So use all the means that we have to our advantage. So lesser challenges, better, more good things. Now coming to the good things. When we say internet is open and free for all to access, it is true. Whether or not it's still in its entirety being practiced across the globe. And that is even more true for the internet governance platforms. When they say it is open, it really is open. You can just go out and speak to the CEO of IIIT at an IIIT meeting, catch hold of him and saying, hi, I am so-and-so and I have a question. And if he or she has the time, they will spend at least a minute or 30 seconds to give you that whatever answer or perspective you are looking for. You think, oh my god, this is a really huge, oh my god, very prestigious person, how am I going to go speak to that person? Don't do that. It's a very open place. You can go and speak to the UN, you can speak to Changitai, who is a UN representative of IGF Secretariat. And he will talk to you like any of us will talk to each other in the last 2 days. And you'll find that surprising at first, because you're like, I am a nobody, and this person just spoke to me, wow. And that is how this space operates. I mean, you can have a person from any other nationality, designation, kind of work they're doing, and they're all open and there to speak to you, especially younger people. The one asset we're carrying is we're younger, and all of these people want to see the young blood come in. Because if we don't take on the baton, where is the system going to follow? Who is it going to fall on to? There are some people running it, and yes, we all come with an expiry date, whether or not we like it. So it has to go on to the younger people, and we have to pick it up. So use that to our advantage. It's open. Just go and talk, no matter what kind of forum you are at, a local, global, regional level. So I mean, the second good thing, when we're saying opportunities, we saw Srini, Glenn, with Samiran speak about so many different opportunities. Yes, there are tons and tons of fellowships. Organize your life. You've got just out of college, you're in a day job, whatever you're doing with your life, there are many deadlines to meet. You're looking for fellowships, there are 500. I can give you 5 on the top of my head that will close in the next month, right now. But you have to organize your life. Because you have to apply for those, you have to make time to fill in the application form, which is not a 10-minute thing, because they're going to ask you intense, deep questions, some things that you've never even thought about yourself. I would really encourage everybody in the room to apply for the fellowship. Whether or not you get it, whether or not you think you're worthy of it, one good thing that it has done to me is a lot of self-reflection. When I sat down to write the ICANN application, I filled it 2 or 3 times in my life already now. And I'm going to the next one for the first time as a fellow. And there were so many things I said, oh, I've never given this a thought. What are the 3 challenging things you've done in your life? And I said, So my application actually goes on for 3 days. I open it and I said, no, today I don't have the bandwidth and the energy to write. I don't know what all they want to know. And you have like 250 characters, you want to squeeze in your life story into that. You have to convince this person that this is why I am good and this is what I have done, and prove yourself. So it's a very good way of self-reflection. And that is why I would say it is good that you get to the 4th round of not getting the fellowship and keep applying, because every time you fill in the form, you're refining yourself. And if you can do that, save a copy. Have your historical data and see how your first application and your fourth application actually differ so much. You've evolved so much as an individual, there's so much more you have to say. And yes, of course, as all of these people said, you need to have something substantial to say. There are lots of opportunities, do stuff at your local level, and even if there is a chapter or not, start local, start in your house, get 5 friends together, tell 5 friends of how can you protect your data online. I'm sure all of you have non-tech friends who would be like, I don't know what is, I don't know it. So start there. That is a local activity itself. It may not be under a particular banner, you're not doing it as a part of XYZ organization, but you're creating some kind of change. So that is enough validation to tell somebody, yeah, this is what I believe in, this is what I started with. So use the opportunities to our advantage. And don't be, the third part, good thing I say is, take off the hesitation. Do I belong here? Does this make any sense to me? I mean, in the last 2 or 3 days, we all ask ourselves these questions like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here because some of it I get, some of it I don't get, I don't relate to. Yes, that happens. As long as you're using the internet, as long as it means to you at something in your personal or professional life, you belong here. Because then your voice matters. And then I think that is pretty much everybody on the planet. And we should be fortunate that we have the resources, A, we're connected, B, lesser of a language barrier, honestly. I mean, you have to meet people from mainland China who struggle to speak English at some of these forums. As an Indian and a lot of the other subcontinent, people from the subcontinent, we really don't have that much of a barrier. We can present ourselves, we can voice our opinions, and most of us have a lot of fervor when it comes, when you're an Indian, you just want to speak up and take the mic. And this is a great platform. The mic is up there. Yeah, have a minute. So the mic is up there, go to the IIIT meeting, take the mic, say, yeah, sometimes you're not going to make a lot of sense because you're still understanding the space. But that's fine. Don't hesitate because you don't know that. You think your question is silly, but ask. If you think you don't have the ability to make a very smart point and you want to hold that back, that's fair enough. Ask the question. It could be as silly as, I don't know the full form of this particular thing. And somebody will be happily wanting to answer that in that particular session or later. So that's a very nice thing about it. The last 4th thing I would say is everything is virtual. We're talking internet here. Yes, it's important to be physically present at a lot of meetings, meet a lot of people, network. But a lot of it can happen virtually as well. So let's take advantage of that. It's not possible, even if you get the fellowship, sometimes it's not possible to be at a meeting. We all have work commitments, you can have a job, you have families, etc. You can't make it all the time. And people who have to go all the time are sort of sometimes like, oh, can I not go this time? So that's going to happen. So try to be virtually connected. Try to be involved different virtual ways. There are WhatsApp groups, there are Facebook groups, there are different platforms, there are different working groups if you're really interested in you think your input, you have some kind of expertise in a particular topic, attach yourself to a particular working group. Try and give some kind of opinions there, try and see how you can work with them. If you think you're still wanting to get to know this space, become a part of these Facebook groups. There's a fellows.asia, which is a group for no matter what kind of a fellow you are, an inSIG fellow, APSIG fellow, Apricot fellow, APNIC fellow, ICANN fellow, all the fellows from Asia are part of big WhatsApp group, Facebook group, I'm sorry. It's called fellows.asia. It's an open group, you just send an invitation, they'll add you, and you're always going to be updated about what's happening in a different region. I think the one thing we all take back from here, if not certain notes in our book, are definitely 5 new contact ads, right? We're all taking at least 5 new numbers in our phones, new WhatsApp friends we've made. Be in touch. Know from each other what you're doing, maybe at a local level, oh, are you doing this? Oh, I became a part of that. So keep that engagement going. And that's the easier one to do. Because you met this person, you know each other, you just pick it up from saying, Acha, haan, tumne kya kiya? Oh yeah, I'm going to go for this one, I'm going to do this one. You're technical, I think this is something I saw which is interesting for you. So share that information amongst us. And we're the generation of collaboration, we're the social friendly generation. So let's use all of that to our advantage, I'd say. And yeah, for more practical tips, I'm here around all day and questions will be welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Millie, for the very passionate exposition of your own story as well as your thoughts. Before we open the floor, 2 quick points. One secret weapon that you have in this struggle is the community. This is not something that you can do all by yourself. This is not for loners. The community is actually holding together, and for example, Millie mentioned a number of different things happening simultaneously. It may not be possible for you to track individually all these different opportunities or whatever. Whereas communities, including the alumni communities of inSIG or these fellows Facebook group, these actually give you a platform and a forum, even to raise questions and get them answered, and also to know about various developments that are happening in the space. The second is that almost all organizations mentioned here actively promote remote participation. How many of you here have used Adobe Connect? Yeah, not bad. So many people have used Adobe Connect, and Adobe Connect is our virtual home when you have ICANN. So get used to these tools like Connect and Zoom and all that. I open the floor for questions at this point. 1, anybody else? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, please go ahead. Mic here, please. Make the questions short and make the responses also short. We don't have time for long responses or questions.
You want to do the first one?
So, good morning.
Not working.
It's not
Both mics are not working. Can someone fix this, please?
Okay. I just
You can
ask.
ask. You can ask.
Can you hear me now?
Share this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Sudhakar from the University of Mysore. I attended 2 ICANN conferences, one at Hyderabad and one at Copenhagen. What I've seen is the participation part. When I saw Chinese in Copenhagen, there are 75 people. In India, totally around 22 people, including me. So I came as a personal invitation. So one of my suggestion is, since UGC has specified to all the university professors and lecturers they're supposed to have some points, they're supposed to attend international conferences, they'll be given to and fro. Okay, funding also will be provided by the university. What I can do, so Samiran can do is, he can persist with UGC or universities to send their professors to these type of conventions. Then there will be voice in the international forum. So that is my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we take all the questions and then get the panelists to answer? Number 2? Where's number 2? Yeah, okay.
Good morning, Mohit from DC. So my question is to Glenn. I'm just curious to know what is the difference between a board of director and a board of trustees. One is used in ICANN term and one is used in ISO. And my second one is a comment. So I would like to encourage everyone to participate in ICANN public comments opportunity. There are lots of those. You can go to the ICANN website. And in the menu itself, there's a menu option for public comments, and you can go to open, and there are lots of public comments. I personally have commented in 3 of them. One of them being for trademark clearinghouse, second one is for RSEC 2 review, and third one I just submitted comments on, which was on GTLT RDM profile. Thank you.
Next question. Third question. Okay, Shahul James.
So my question is like from a young perspective, there are like young lawyers, students, engineers getting involved to this IT organization. So how to like is there anything that helps your career or professional growth involved in these IT organizations?
Number 4. Thanks for the question. Who was number 4?
Hi, my name is Diksha. I'm from Nepal. So I've been very fortunate to have gotten a chance to participate in international, regional and local forums. But often I've observed that youth are involved in the sessions which are only dedicated to youth and not other diverse sessions. So my question would be, how can we make it to the panel? Or to simply put, how did Miss Medley make it to the panel? So that's what I mean.
Right, that's a good question. Next question.
Can I make a comment, not a question?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I completely agree with Millie. She's so brave to, share the bad thing first and the good thing later. I thought she'll go with the good thing first. But just quick comments. These days, the local issues are not local anymore. If you don't come and engage with these high-star organizations, okay, the local issues are much broader. You might think, it's a local issue here, but that could be discussed somewhere else as well, the same issue. And by the time, you get engaged, that issue could have moved forward, okay? The solution could have been established, so the engagement is the key thing here. Yes, attending the conferences, there's a cost involved, but I would strongly suggest that if you're really interested, start with your virtual engagement with these conferences. There's remote participation, so jump on the remote participation, get into a stream, where your interest is, and then try to engage with that and see. You can see who is joining that remote participation as well. Some of the names, familiar names, they also can't travel every conference, so they join remotely. So that's the other one, Then once you're confident, then try look for, as Millie and others mentioned, there's fellowships. Try apply for fellowship. It will actually be an advantage for you if you engage and remotely. Then you can actually put that in your application for the fellowship. To justify why you want to travel to the conference. Why you want to personally engage with the conference, and that will be an added bonus for you. The other one is the policies are set by the users, not the staff, not the high-star organizations. Okay, the users, the internet users. So if you don't get engaged and the policies are set, and then you sit in the room and debate, but you don't participate with the others, you can't do anything for yourself. Okay, you need to be engaged with the rest of the world, if you want to move it forward. So that's just the comments for me. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sunny. Any other questions remaining? One more. I'll ask the panelists for 1 minute responses now. Another mic? The other mic?
I'm Vinay Patel, and I'm from Shimoga, and I'm working there as assistant professor. And back in our engineering college, we have been doing a lot of programs for senior citizens. So how to make use of mobile phones, internet for train reservations, as well as Paytm or whatever other similar kind of apps are there. And we do also conduct a lot of workshops for school students, the underprivileged school students who are not privileged enough to have a facility like that. So in what way can we get support from Internet Society? Because we have been doing this. So if we can have a support from ISOC as well as a similar kind of forums.
Thank you for the question. Are there any remaining questions? Right. So before I ask the panelists, please remember that you can start ISOC chapters in places where there are no chapters. That is one way to start. You can become individual member of the at-large in ICANN. That's another way. Yes, please.
Hi, it is Anurag from India itself. In continuation to Panik, I have a small question that as being a registered community organization from more than 10-11 years of existence, do it is necessary to have an FCRA registration to get funding from ISOC, or as Srini was saying, we can get?
Well, I don't think we have time to resolve this now. Yeah, so take it offline.
And there is one more question. In addition to having associated by writing blogs, etc., kindly let us know some more types of engagements do come under active participation modes.
Thank you very much. The first question was actually technical, and it is actually important. And Subhash has been working on it for quite some time now. So he will tell you what the answer is. I request panelists for 1 minute responses. Samir?
I'm not sure which one you would like to
Any other question that you would like to
Okay. UGC.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea because, as we know that there are funds available and to get more professors traveling to ICANN meeting. I think it works both ways though. The issue is, okay, maybe we get them some funding to travel, then what are they going to do? Yeah. Okay, so there has to be some commitment. So, but I'm very happy to take this offline and to see if we can build a model for discussion with our colleagues at the ministry.
Yeah, I can help.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll answer the one question. What's the difference between board of trustee or board of directors? There is no difference. They're just terminology. We opt to, we opted with ISOC to use board of trustee. It doesn't sound as business-like as directors, but it's exactly the same function. We have an oversight role, financial oversight role. Let me just, since I got the mic for just a second, I forgot to mention another organization that you should watch their online briefings. It's Diplo. And has anyone attended the Diplo meetings or, okay. Incredible people, and they have an online publication, which they just did in Spanish as well. So it might be something worth approaching them and translating it into local languages. As I said, Diplo has a curated monthly call. It's well worth joining them when you have a chance. Now, some people have been asking financial questions about ISOC. Maybe at lunch we can find a table and the people who are interested, particularly on ISOC stuff, because I don't have time now to answer all the questions on that, but I'll be around during lunch. So,
thank you, Glenn. Over to you, Sven.
Yeah, I would like to come and put everything together into that. Put yourself, again, initially I told that it is infrastructure, code and content. Now I would like to put it in another perspective as well. You have multi-stakeholders mentioned here. Put yourself in one part of that multi-stakeholder, identify the rest of the partners and start interacting. That's it.
Thank you, Srini.
I'll just quickly take, Shahul, yes, there's a lot of professional and development. Whether or not it translates into a career in this stream, you just learn a lot of skills on the other side. I mean, soft skills as we call them, just learn how to present yourself, etc. So there's a lot of learning in the process, which does help you in your career in any other way. And to answer Diksha's question, yeah, I'm sort of humbled to be on the panel and I was invited. The easiest way to put yourself on a panel is organize a workshop. IGF and APR-IGF are open platforms. You can submit a workshop proposal. 2 or 3 of you get together. There's a particular cause you want to talk about or something you want to present. Organize that, pitch it to them. If it gets selected, you're there and you're on the panel. So that's an easier one. The second easier one is, yeah, make yourself known, make some valid comments. There's something substantial you can say or your journey that is saying something. And definitely there will be somebody who will put you up there because there are lots of places where we want people to speak. And if not at an international one, start in Nepal, start in India, and then make your way up. Thank you.
Thank you, Millie. 30 seconds. Go ahead. Mike, please.
Mike.
Good morning. I'm a professor from Self-Financing College, Dr. GRD College, Coimbatore. When I was just talking to people over here, I'm just adding this comment to Professor Sudhakar, who is from Mysore University, collaborating with UGC. I'm just sorry to say this. Probably Professor Sudhakar and Samaran can talk, and that discussion will be only to people with the aided colleges, government institutions. But many of the colleagues who were here are from self-financing colleges, private institutions, where UGC will take this paper and just put it aside. It will not be considered with the government institutions. I'm sorry to say this, but this happened many times. Just to bring a note on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that comment. We have to close now, and but as an organizer, I would like to address Diksha's question about who comes onto the panel. Now, I think the right way to ramp up towards being on the panel are various activities that you do in something like inSIG, including the lightning talks. We would like you to come on stage and take these low-hanging fruits. I mean, for us organizers, we have to go by whatever track record we have seen. And we see that many people are new, we do not know whether they're good or bad or whatever. And unless you come on stage and tell us what you are, it's hard for us to decide it as well. Maybe for the next inSIG, we can have a panel of randomly chosen people just to see how it goes. But we fully appreciate the sentiment behind that question, and we see that it's important for many of you who have actually participated to come out and, why am I not on the panel? That question. So thank you very much. Sorry now.
Satish, I have
No,
10
that's I
seconds
was
comment. Just a
suggesting
10
to.
Okay, 10 seconds there.
Since we're speaking youth and we spoke about IGF, I just wanted to let you all know we have 3 young youth IGF fellows who are going to Paris this year. Ahita, Harsh and Samrit. So I just thought it's along with Priyatosh who's going as the IGF fellow. So there are 4 people going to IGF this year.
Yeah, quickly 10 seconds.
Okay, so I have a suggestion to inSIG that no discussion is not in MOOC, massive open online courses. So that should be included in next inSIG.
Thank you for the suggestion. Thank you very much to the panelists, and I request Virginie Kumari to come forward and give away the mementos. Wait. Thank you.